Hello pandas of the internet, my name is Panda-chan. I am a full-time artist-ish, a part-time cosplayer, and someone who is always willing to listen to your TTRPG tragedies. Today's horror story is more of a list of minor and major inconveniences that the players had to endure from their not-so-great DM. So, if you're ready, grab a drink, relax, and let's get into it. This RPG horror story was submitted by Blue Vieira. The Ballad of Iris. Your free time is mine. So, I recently posted some of the horror stories about a former DM of my player group, and it really didn't cover even a small portion of the horrors that Iris inflicted upon us. And as some people asked for more details, the group got together to decide what to make a big post of next. In the meantime, please enjoy, or suffer through, this uncurated selection of small to major problems caused by Iris that aren't worth their own post. And yes, we know we should have left sooner. Iris would call us constantly. They knew our schedule and would call us on Discord at any point they thought we were even remotely likely to be online. On my lunch break? Oh, it's an incoming call. I should be getting off of work? Incoming call. You come online for 30 seconds? Call. You just ended a call with Iris? Call. Every single day. Every single player. The only way to stop Iris from calling you was to either bluntly say, "Stop calling me," or to put yourself offline on Discord and refuse to answer any incoming calls. Being offline was still not enough in some cases, as Iris did not care, even if they knew you were at work. Some of the players tried going into Do Not Disturb mode, only to find Iris would call anyways. Some of the players, like myself, nearly always answered, because I'm dumb, and others figured out they needed to avoid these calls at all costs to keep their sanity. Iris only worked 8 hours a week, and calling us was basically their hobby. Iris publicly accused Psychic, my amazing friend and sorcerer player, of not being dedicated enough to the group because they didn't join a call once due to needing to work on homework for their bachelor's degree. Iris publicly talked about possibly kicking players who had been in the group for months because they missed one session. Iris threw a massive and public hissy fit when we suggested that we postpone a boss fight session due to Ranger, our only healer in the campaign, needing to miss the session. This suggestion was made because the boss was, as Iris put it, a CR40 homebrew monster that had roughly 1000 HP and would automatically cast Power Word Kill. We were level 10. Iris threatened to withdraw a level up for the group if my character didn't out herself and her entire backstory 5 sessions into a campaign. The character's identity was the only secret she had, and another character's backstory had already been forcibly outed in the same session. Constantly spoiled upcoming characters, fights, etc. to a party member who did not want to hear it and said as much. Attempted to spoil other party members as well. When I launched my very first campaign, I invited Iris, informing them it was a serious campaign, so please bring a serious character. They brought in the jokiest nerd with a lisp I've ever heard, and interrupted everyone until they rage quit. Their character immediately latched onto the character of a player they had a crush on. It was very awkward. There are several posts worth of creepy behavior from Iris towards Rogue, but we will post those later. Later, when Iris made a new character for my campaign and rejoined, they noped out before their first session as the character and then constantly jumped in and out of the call throughout the session, irritating everyone and sometimes making random noises. This forced us to make a new server Iris couldn't access just for that campaign. Iris would declare a start time, and if everyone showed up early, Iris would immediately start the game without asking anyone, even if it was 30 minutes until game time. Due to this, multiple players started joining calls only at the last minute as to be disrespectful and took away our table talk time. Iris would ping specific players constantly in the lead up to a session, even if the player had already told them they would be there in a minute. Iris did not ask people if they were ready to start. Iris told all of us not to tell anyone else if we were going to miss the session, only them. This led to at least once where those who showed up were blindsided when the session was cancelled due to having too few players right at the start time. If anyone was late and did not tell Iris, they would cancel the session immediately at the start. If 2 players would miss or be late, sessions would also be cancelled. Even if they messaged Iris that they were 5 minutes from their house, they were literally 2 minutes late, or if they were in the restroom and would be right there. The only exception was if Iris wanted to play without a certain player. Iris would do random time skips in-game without giving players a chance to object. Iris would hold votes where all the votes were public in an attempt to shame anyone who voted red on whatever Iris wanted to do. Iris would get upset if people did not vote within an hour of the post being made, even if it was posted in the middle of the night. We have players all around the world in different time zones. Iris would mess with players' character sheets in the middle of session, deleting items and abilities from people's sheets because they suddenly decided the ability was overpowered. They also forced one player to play champion fighters in every campaign and then deleted their abilities in the middle of the session as well, on a character Iris themselves made. Iris kept trying to make short rests a whole day and long rests a week without changing encounter rate, and would sometimes try to make classes that got short rest abilities have triple the resources. We have a nightmare story about that, and Rogue in particular. Required us to use ridiculous encumbrance rules that made 5 books weigh the same as a large barrel filled with ale. This led to a sorcerer who could only carry 3 books and a toolkit, and a barbarian who could carry 10 barrels of ale. Somehow. Iris would get incredibly upset if any player had a small noise come through their mic while Iris was talking, or if any player was at any time away from their seat when Iris randomly decided to throw a fight at us. Keep in mind, we all played over Discord. This is incredibly hypocritical, considering Iris started taking walks in the middle of session, sometimes for the entire duration of a session, even if they knew we had an important combat at the start. During these walks, Iris would go to the grocery store, spend enormous amounts of time shopping, spend time standing next to very loud beeping objects that are placed all over their hometown without even muting themselves, and started conversations with bystanders that would sometimes last for multiple minutes without muting, halting our role-playing. Nearly every walk, the call would be interrupted by Iris yelling out, "Oh, hey there, champ!" because they saw a dog that lived on the route they would always walk. The worst part was that Iris decided that in order to better facilitate these walks, all combat would become theater of the mind. This was especially bad because Iris has the absolute worst sense of distance I have ever heard of. Sometimes thinking a small shop should randomly be over 120 feet wide, sometimes calling 30 feet too far to see, and sometimes seeing 60 feet blind sight isn't large enough to see the second floor of a regular store. At one point, a major hub of an inn the party frequented, which was supposedly at the center of the world's largest city, was described to be too small to host more than 20 people. Iris would randomly add new players at the start of a session without telling anyone they were doing so. Then Iris would kick them just as suddenly because of various reasons. This happened so often we had a player get burnt out because of it, and we had to hold an intervention to get them to stop because it was almost weekly. Thanks for reading. There will be more, a lot more. Yes, we know we were dumb for tolerating all this for so long. Well, that was horrifying. I'm so glad that you can look on this as only a memory and don't need to deal with Iris anymore. It's always kinda terrifying to see someone have to go through that. I hope OP and their party are doing well and having fun with D&D. I will be reading more of this ballad, so please stay tuned. And be sure to check out the original story in the description. But with that, like, subscribe, leave me a comment telling me a wholesome D&D interaction, and as always, I will see you next time.